seen him. He hasn't been in years. He's in town. I had to bring him up. Please welcome to the stage, Lamar Hill.
How y'all doing? Now y'all not gonna ostracize me for the being straight thing, are you? Because that wouldn't be cool.
Yo, y'all give them all some love. Give them some love.
So she likes it rough. Oh, see, we started already with the I thought I was in New York.
Do your thing, man.
Let's try it again. So she likes it rough. That sounds like Atlanta. Let's see if we can at least get to D.C. See if we can get above the Mason-Dixon line. I love the South, but see if we can get to D.C. If we get to D.C., then I'm happy. We can go from there. All right, let's try one more time. She likes it rough.
How rough?
That sounded like Baltimore. All right, okay. And who better to lick her clitoris like licorice, bend her over the dresser and bless her, bang her back out till she taps out. Handful of hair in one hand, hip in the other. Now I got her right where I want her. There's no place for her to run to. She just got to accept the gift I'm giving her. I'm giving her the miraculous. Till her vibrator is inadequate. Then I throw her ass on the mattress, make her scream, make her cream. I could go for hours, I'm a machine, and I'm gonna make you a believer. You about to break the Guinness Book of World Records for the most orgasms ever had in one session. She likes it rough, wants to know if I can keep up. I tell her it's not your best interest to talk shit, cause I'm so thick, I hit all four sides like wall-to-wall carpet. And if you want to hear the rest of that poem, you can buy my CD. It looks like this. I also have a novel too. No, I'm not done. The novel is called Freak. It actually, every chapter starts with a poem, but it's also a novel. I think you'll enjoy it. It's well written. People tell me they read it in a day or two, so that's a good thing. All right. Boom. If you plan on coming through 121, please don't even bother getting your hair done. Because for those bold enough to pursue me, I'm that brother that'll straight sweat out your $15 doobie. And I won't even mention what I do to extensions. Plus, I'm like the exorcist to your flat twist. I'm the reason your beautician can afford to drive a Lexus. I'm the cause. You stay in his chair more than Bobby Brown stays in trouble with the law. I keep it hotter than the sauna. I keep it hotter in the summertime in the Bahamas. And my stroke will bring the drama to all your baby's mamas. I'm the reason you go to work blurring your speech. I'm the reason you keep a baseball cap in your back seat. Because I draw out your waterfalls, I sweat out your dye, I perform cunnilingus that'll make you cry. So when you're in your hairdresser's chair the next day, he'll be like, ooh, what the fuck happened to you? You was just in here yesterday and I hooked up your dude. Now you look like you dived head first into a swimming pool and you just smile as you reminisce over the cause of the destruction. Some good old fashioned, put that ass up on the kitchen table loving that you felt like would never stop. So now when you're under the hairdryer, it's not just your head that's getting hot. Because you recall how I grabbed your ponytail to pull you closer to me, it's simple. You came looking like Deborah Cox, left looking like Shirley Temple. This was just something I was blessed with. It's the reason that your drop curls will not make it to breakfast. Your best bet is to put on a head wrap and tie that shit on tight. Because when it's time to crash, I don't give a damn if it's December. You better have your AC on full blast. Because when I hear you call my name, baby, it's Armageddon for your micro braids. And oh, that rap, you can forget about that. I'll even knock out them little beady things you got in the back. And if you want to hear the rest of that poem, it's in the book. I've been doing that for 10 years. It never gets old, Mo. It just never gets old.
It works, baby. Don't stop.
Yeah. So I mentioned I had a book, mentioned I had a CD. I've only got 5 copies of the CD left. I've got like 10 copies of the book. I really don't want to go back to Baltimore with any of them, so I'll give you a CD. If you buy a book, I'll give you the CDs for free for the first 5 people. And then for everybody else, you just get a good read and you don't get to listen to anything. So. Can I do a love poem? Yeah. Is that okay?
You gonna cut it off?
You cut it off.
So I have always been unlucky in love. And I have oftentimes found myself inside the embrace of a woman with whom I have nothing in common, because for those few hours, I can forget about my problems. It's similar to a drunken binge off of fine alcohol, but the next morning only offers hangovers and withdrawal. And it's no one's fault but mine. I can freely admit that most of my problems stem from my inability to commit, my inability to tear down my walls brick by brick, my inability to feel. Because it's hard for me not to protect myself if I can't righteously believe that she will. It's the ultimate catch-22. You see, in order to truly be in love, you have to first allow someone to love you. And to me, that seems impossible, especially in an age where love seems to fade like the morning mist on a clear summer's day. When it's good, it's great. But the second we come across some hard times, she starts peeking over the fence to see if the grass is truly greener on the other side. And I would rather die alone than to live a lie. And dying alone is the course I'm on. Ain't no detours or U-turns. You live and you learn that you might never find your better half if you can't make yourself whole. See, contrary to popular belief, can't nobody complete you. That's a myth formulated by some poet's pen. The truth of the matter is you have to already be complete before the relationship even begins. And here I stand, just pieces of a man caught in between who I want to be and who I am, constantly hurting. A fortune teller once told me that animals and babies will always love you because you have a good soul, but you're not a good person. And I've spent my life proving her right. My ex-girlfriend told me that I don't truly want to be happy because I'm afraid that I would lose my muse. Rather stay dejected and confused than have a woman who could massage away my blues, and I've spent my life proving her right. My mother told me that patience is not one of my family's virtues. The second that a woman begins to egg me on, I'm gone, and I've spent my life proving her right. But just one time, I'd like to prove somebody wrong. You see, I know no one's perfect. And the fact of the matter is, just like anyone else, I want to be in love. But there's a possibility that some of us don't deserve it. And there I was, standing on the ledge, wondering if 40 stories is enough to kill me. Don't know if my woman would spit on my grave or be so overwhelmed with grief that she just want to jump into the coffin with me. So I'm praying, Lord, forgive me for the 40 souls I placed into a stranglehold, but I'm older now, trying to change my sentence of eternity in hell with no possibility for parole, but it's 40 stories straight down. It's 40 dead-end stories, and each one is harder to relate. Stories of women whose bodies I've treated delicately, but whose hearts I've raped. It's 40 stories straight down to the concrete where I can finally get some sleep. It's 40 stories dating. Back to when I was 14, in love with this beautiful brown beauty queen with skin that smelled like cocoa butter and a voice like nothing I was used to, and eyes so deep you swore she could look into the future. And I'm wanting to apologize for my wandering eyes. I'm wanting to apologize for the hard times. I'm wanting to apologize for my low tolerance for temptation. But instead, I'm 40 love stories up, and I'm just waiting. I'm just aching. 40 stories with nothing but gravity between me and reality. Perhaps you've been here before. Perhaps you've seen the world from this perspective. Perhaps you even gazed down to the unsuspecting. Perhaps you walked down the aisle, only wished you could retrace your steps. Perhaps you believed in love, threw caution to the wind, only to have your heart broken, to begin your trek up these 40 stories again. Up here above it all, feeling untouchable, feeling unlovable. Up here with your fear being pushed, has you so paranoid, you trust no one. You left your trust around the 25th floor, because it was just too heavy for you to hold. And you left your ability to love unconditionally around the same place that you left your soul. So now you're just standing here with nothing but the baggage you refuse to release. The same baggage that prevents your peace. It's 40 stories with those who truly love you safely down on the ground floor. So no matter how much wealth you accumulate in this lifetime, emotionally, you will always be poor. And there I am, standing, emotionally, you will always be poor. And damn, I ain't want to mess that one up. Y'all looking at me like that was fucked up what you just did. Emotionally, you will always be poor, and just as I get ready to take the leap, she She's standing here 40 stories with me. She reaches out her hand and we take the leap together, falling through the insecurity, falling through the doubt, falling through past relationship hells, finally understanding that people never change for people. People change for themselves. Falling through the insecurities, falling into love that is true, and falling safely into the hands of the Almighty God when I finally conjure up the courage to say, I do. Thank y'all for listening. Thank y'all. Thank y'all.
Lamar Hill.